Hey guys, my name is Alex, and this is the 18th installment in my video project series thing, Kingly Endeavors, in which I intend to read all of Stephen King's novels in chronological order, and to hopefully post a video a week about them. This week, I read The Wasteland. The video that I make about The Wasteland is probably going to be one of the shorter ones because I didn't actually read it this week. I actually read it like 6 months ago. So unfortunately, I can't call upon my visceral, immediate thoughts that I had about the book when I first put it down. But I still have the notes that I always put on the title page of the Stephen King books. Fortunately, I have an out here because this is the third volume of Stephen King's Dark Tower series, and I remember in my original notes I wrote that I wasn't going to talk too much about the story because it would give too much away about volumes 1 and 2. Really, I remember what I wanted to talk about was some of the themes in this book and how they pertain, and this seems to be the lens now by which I assess all of Stephen King's work, how they pertain to addiction. Because The Wastelands was released in 1991. It was the dawn of the last decade of the 20th century. Brendan Fraser's career was full of nothing but promise. As Philip Roth puts it, it was the decade where, at a certain point, everyone in America was thinking about the president's penis. It's also pretty significant in the life of Stephen King, though, because the 1990s, really the outset of the 1990s, is when Stephen King got sober. According to this biography that I stole from the library at the college where I work, the first novel that Stephen King wrote in full sobriety was Needful Things, which is his 19th novel, so the one that comes after this. If that's 100% true, then I guess, yeah, we have some reason to believe that maybe there was still some substance abuse going on while he was at work on The Wastelands. However, I don't think it's a leap to suggest that sobriety was definitely on Stephen King's mind, because one of the visual motifs that goes all throughout the book, and I'm sure it'll carry on into others, is the imagery of doorways and of keys. A doorway, like a bridge, is of course always a great literary metaphor because it means you're traversing a boundary, you're going into a new place, you don't necessarily know what's on the other side. But what's particularly interesting in both the depiction of doors and how these characters approach doorways in The Wastelands is they're constantly doubting their ability to function on the other side of that doorway. They don't know if they'll be able to cope or if they'll be able to stay who they are. And I think that that's actually a very moving metaphor for what Stephen King was going through. Stephen King says that he had his first drink when he was like 16 or 17 years old, and that he was pretty much a regular beer drinker up until he finally hit sobriety in the early 90s. But technically, he had never achieved a modicum of professional success without some sort of mind-altering substance playing a role in his life. When Stephen King finally got sober, one of his big anxieties was whether he would be able to write. Because it's hard enough, obviously, if you're like an aspiring writer or just a recreational writer and everything you've ever penned was done with, some sort of substance in your system. It's a totally different story when you decide to give up those substances after you've already become internationally famous and after people are already setting the bar very, very high for what they expect you to achieve. The Wastelands is full of people looking at doorways, studying those doorways, worrying about going through those doorways, and ultimately, it's a book full of people walking through them, because at the end of the day, they kind of just realize there is no other choice. So, constant reader, thanks for watching.